Yeousch!
What is up, YouTube? It's Ubu, the Tech Guru, coming straight at you. Today I have something of a commentary that I've never really done before. I want to talk about the State of the Union address from President Obama last night. Now, I generally, try to, at least none of my commentaries in the past have ever, been really deep like this or, talked about politics. And you may be wondering, why would you want to sit here and watch a 9-minute video where the background, commentary is about politics? Well, I'll tell you why. A lot of you guys are younger kids, probably not even old enough to vote yet, and, this State of the Union address is something that is done annually by the president, and it basically discusses, some major points of change that he wants to occur in our nation. So, keeping up to snuff on what's going on, in the political area is something that you want to do. Now I'm not saying go and be like turn into some kind of political nut and figure out all this stuff and try to change the world. No, I'm basically just saying to stay up to tune with what is going on with your current president, what he wants to change, what he wants to get enacted. Just because the more knowledgeable you are, the better choices you can make in your life, and how our current president's decisions and legislation's decisions affect your life. So I just wanted to touch on a few points, that the president brought up in the State of the Union address. He brought up the fact that oil imports are down. He's really touting that we want to be less dependent on importing oil. For the last 5 years, we've bought more American cars, and we've purchased less foreign oil than we have in 20 years. And this is, he stated basically that this was in thanks to a combination of improved fuel efficiency and drilling. The oil imports are on a pace to fall to their lowest level since 1987. The next thing that he touched on that I'd like to just talk about was his target for reducing the deficit. We're like something like $16 trillion in debt, which is just not good for any nation. But he said that we've already accomplished more than $2.5 trillion in a reduction of the deficit over the last few years, and his goal is to reduce the total deficit by $4 trillion. And so over the next 2 years, he's hoping to get another $1.5 trillion reduced from our deficit. The other thing that he talked about was small manufacturing in the U.S. Basically, manufacturers have added more than 500,000 jobs over the past 3 years, and that's something that we really need to get back to is manufacturing in the U.S. Made in America. That's what we need to do. We need to stop sending our manufacturing overseas and to other countries because it's cheaper. We need to get manufacturing industry needs to basically improve their processes and their product so it's more on par with what the world can produce stuff for, so that manufacturing can stay in the U.S. and that it's an affordable, that it's a smart decision to manufacture in the U.S. He's talked about basically the Earth is getting warmer. We talk about global warming, and the 12 hottest years on record have come in the last 15 years. So global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it, is you know, is a fact, and we need to figure out why this is happening. Obama talked about cutting the carbon emissions. You know, so if Congress isn't going to enact something, he basically stated he will. He wanted, you know, an executive action to cut emissions 17% by the year 2020. But, you know, big long-term cuts are going to require Congress, you know, to get involved here. He talked about a fix-it-first infrastructure, where he's proposing a program to put people to work as soon as possible on the most urgent repairs, which is like 70,000 structurally deficient bridges across the country. You know, infrastructure experts argued that we should be repairing existing roads and bridges before building new ones, and you know, that's because it's often cheaper to fix the road early on, you know, in its damage, than it is to let it get damaged further and then fix it later. One of the huge changes that he talked about was the minimum wage. You know, a person working minimum wage only makes $14,500 a year, and that's below poverty, people. You know, so if you're working in the, you know, you're working minimum wage, you're trying to support maybe 2 kids or 1 kid, you're in poverty. So he wants to raise the minimum wage to $9 an hour. I mean, that's huge. That would affect millions of working families, you know. That's a huge thing. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind for you guys, because like I said, I'm sure a lot of my demographic are younger people, and don't quite have the skills yet to work in an environment that is, you know, beyond minimum wage. So raising it to $9 an hour, you know, that's awesome. You guys, you need to, when you get a job, you need to, you know, worry about saving and don't frivolously spend your money. That's all I can tell you. That's all I'm going to suggest on that is, you know, and watch out for credit cards. You know, when you first start working and you're 18 years old, you're going to get a bunch of Discovery, American Express, MasterCard, Visa. They're all going to send you these things like, hey, we'll extend you $3,000 of credit, you know, and I'm going to tell you, sure, get the card, but use it diligently. You know, buy something for a couple $100, pay the card off in the first month. I mean, credit, you want to have credit cards. I'm not saying don't get credit cards, but I'm saying use them the way that they should be used, and that's you use it, you know, you borrow money for 30 days and then you pay it back. And a lot of times you get like 0 interest for the first so many months on these cards. You know, so another thing that he talked about was the border security is, you know, it's up. There's a record number of agents on the border, and you know, that's keeping you know, illegal immigrants from coming in. And then he talked about improving the long lines and whatnot for legal immigrants, people that, you know, come in here that want to be legally, you know, citizens, and like engineers and scientists and whatnot from foreign countries. He wants to make that line quicker to be able to become a citizen, you know, for those people that do abide by the laws. They pay taxes and they, you know, follow the laws. He wants to make the process more streamlined for legal immigrants. You know, he talked about the withdrawal of 34,000 troops from Afghanistan. You know, he's already brought home 33,000, you know, of our brave servicemen and women, and over the next year he's going to bring home another 34,000 troops from Afghanistan. So, you know, he touched on a lot of these topics, guys, and, you know, there's something to just keep in mind and know what was discussed, and keep yourself knowledgeable on general topics in politics, just because it is your future, guys. You know, you're the ones that are coming up, you know, for the majority of my demographic. This is your, you know, this will be your future. So hopefully this topic didn't bore you guys too much. I appreciate it if you stuck around for the whole thing. Give me a rating or a comment if you have any opinions on the subject. and I will see you guys on the battlefield.
Ubu out.